Hi everybody, this is Carolina Millan, and I'm very excited today because I have a very, very special guest here, Mr. Scott Stratten, aka UnMarketing. How are you, Scott?
I'm wonderful. I'm really happy to finally meet you.
I'm happy to finally meet you too. So I have been following Scott for about 9 years.
9 years, yeah.
Maybe 7 to 8 years now. And one of the reasons I started using Twitter was this guy. And and one of the reasons I discovered how to properly use social media, especially Twitter, was through his teachings. So the first thing I want to ask you is, how did you get into social media? Where were you at in your career, and how did you discover it? And what happened?
It's like anything in business. It's part luck, part timing, and a little bit of skill, I guess. Where it was when the recession hit, and I had an agency without any clients anymore, and I was like, well, what are you going to do now? And I've always loved community. I've always loved connections that happen through that. But before that, it was forums. It was forums, online message boards. That was the old school. I'm an old school geek at heart. I've been online since 1994, and I've always loved the online community side of it. And then I see this Twitter thing in April 2008, and I'm like, give it a shot. And I just dabbled in it. I did what a lot of marketers do, which was I tried it but didn't give it a lot of effort, and then kind of wrote it off. I'm like, well, it's not going to work too well. And then in January 2009, January 1st, I said, okay, I'm going to give Twitter 30 days. I'm going to live on it, and I'm going to see really if it has the people there that I'd like to connect with. I didn't go there to sell. I didn't go there to make a living. I didn't go there to get a book deal. What I did go there was to find other entrepreneurs, because being an entrepreneur is really isolating. Right? You don't have a lunchroom you show up in and everybody's hanging out. You don't have a water cooler to talk around. So I decided to live so for 30 days. I tweeted 7,000 times in 30 days.
7,000.
Yeah, and I went from 1,000 followers to 10,000, and I realized there's a community here. And so I haven't stopped tweeting since. And I've tweeted 110,000 times with 180,000 or so followers. And for me, yeah, you might have tweeted more than me. You've surpassed.
I don't have more followers, but I have more tweets. 116.
Yeah, so we're about the same. So easy does it. We're about the same.
Yeah.
And but the thing was, it's just that it's where the conversation of the community was happening. And back then, it's different. If I did that now, I don't think it would work the same. I think Twitter has certainly shifted as a platform where it's more a little more voyeuristic, meaning we'll watch and we'll just we'll follow celebrities and athletes, and real-time events especially is huge.
I think that's still huge, yeah.
Yeah, and the difference though back then in 2008, 2009, 2010 is you were there to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And I would tweet and I'd be like, good evening everybody, and everybody just like, whoa, and everybody would jump in and say hi, and it would be non-stop connecting until you logged off for that day. And now, I could tweet and say hello, and it's just kind of
crickets.
hello, and that's and that happens with a lot of places and platforms, but it's never happened to forums and message boards. Well, one of the reasons why is because they're moderated, they're policed. So the stuff people do on Twitter and Facebook you'd never get away with in the old school message boards. So you'd be kicked out of there in a second. I wish we had some of those controls in social. So I get it, but so the thing is, we can either complain about Twitter changing, or we can adapt to the change, and that's your choice. And I complain a lot about things and get mad about things, but the reality is, do you want to use the platform in its current state? And if yes, then look how to use it. And if not, then find something else. There's certainly no lack of platforms out there, but for me, Twitter was really the beginning of it for my world of social media side of things. And then the book deal came, it blew up, and did a 30-city book tour in 10 weeks with all through one tweet I sent out, and then we booked all those dates, and we haven't stopped speaking since. So it's been good.
You're here. I don't remember if I already know the answer to this question, but how did you come up with the UnMarketing, the nickname?
It was about 15 years ago, and I like hooks. I like headlines and titles with a cat. I'm a marketer, always at heart, so it has to be some kind of either catch or curiosity. So it's either it has a catch to it, or you're curious of what does that mean. And Unmarketing, I thought it would look good on a book cover when I picked it 15 years ago. So 8-9 years ahead of the book, I just thought that would stand out. And it also fit my personality, and that was important for the brand, where I never sat down and said, this will be the brand, and I'm going to do this, this, and this. It was just like, that works because of having a contrarian kind of personality that lent itself to being the opposite of something else. And because people have been saying it for a long time, and I agree with all of them, but like, Unmarketing is still marketing. I'm like, I know. Next. Like, I know it is. I never said it wasn't. It's just this, you have to kind of shift your way of thinking sometimes, that marketing is just push messaging all the time. And I think in 2009, that was a weird conversation for people to have. They're like, I don't understand that. Now it's 2016, and the conversation has shifted to, and sadly has been, well, we're just going to move those push messages into all the social channels now, which kind of hurts them, right?
Yeah. Do you think that has changed at all? I mean, do you think people still use social media like it was television?
Oh, 100%. That's part of what broke it. I do think it's broken. I think that the Twitter's a platform as a networking tool is much harder because of part of that. Two things: just push messaging all the time, and then scheduling. And I've said this from the first book, the first edition, all the way till today, and I've been saying the same thing for 8 years now, and I'll keep saying it. But when you start automating things and scheduling tweets and syncing Instagram posts, what you're saying is, I'm not there, but you need to look at my stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I have an ego, but I'm not even that vain, where I think everybody should see my stuff on all platforms all the time. And that's the problem, is it causes absentee content. And I love content, is amazing. I'm a content marketer for a long time, but to create something in a social network where you're saying, I want to have presence without being present, is a dangerous thing to me. Because it makes it looks like you're there when you're not. I'm not sure, and we can talk about authenticity then there if it clashes with that. But also, then you're not giving to the platform. And social currency is a term we used in the first book, which was, you have to give your social currency to a platform. You have to invest in it before you start withdrawing currency from it. And that's still true today, where the good pages on Facebook, the good accounts on Twitter that's different, let's say, for a visual platform like Instagram, where it really isn't social, it's visual.
Yeah.
And it's Pinterest, same idea, right? It's visual. You have a compelling visual. You don't have to talk to anybody. Now you can interact with fans, you could do, but it's not really set up that way. No. They only recently have you allowed to tag replies or direct messages.
Yeah.
It's more visual driven. So I don't find that as social media. It's not, the core of the content is not driven by interactions. Therefore, to me, it's not social, but it's visual and incredible tool. Yeah. But things like Facebook have become individuals interacting and then brands just posting.
Yes.
And again, now you're just like
posting and then analyzing how many likes did we get, and comments did we get.
And the vanity metric side of it, and where Facebook came out and said on the record that we are a sponsored platform, meaning businesses have to pay to use it. It was just at a talk 4 days ago when a Facebook rep came out and simply said, and to me, at a table and then on stage, we are a sponsored platform. As a business, you want to succeed. Now, I never heard them say this publicly. I knew that. You've known that for a long time.
We've known that, yes.
They're like, it's all interaction. No. They're like, we are a paid platform.
Wow.
And you see it when I go. I'm pretty lucky that when we share something on the Unmarketing Facebook page, most of the time I'm sharing other content, not ours. It's a link to something I find interesting. And that the inherent content of our topic, which is like businesses screwing things up and stuff, is inherently viral. Like, people like to share that type of stuff. So it's pretty easy where we can get a reach far beyond our existing fan base on there. But when I would look to promote something, it's just ridiculous. It's $300, $500 a post to get out to 3% of our list. Yeah. And I'm like, but that's the game. And I said this a couple years ago. When you build your house on rented land, you have to pay the rent eventually.
Yes.
But the problem is, what's happened is the whole social media side and the social media kind of consultant side of things sold Facebook to brands by saying, the first thing they said is, it's free. And they led with the wrong thing. They didn't lead with your audience is there. It's like, it's free and then this. But once you lost that initial point, which was it's free, you have these, not the big brands, but the smaller brands saying, but you said this would be free. You said this would be, now we're looking at budgets, $1,000 a month to promote a post. Like what? Now you're kind of looking silly. Now you're trying to game the metrics. Now you're trying to say, well, just post kitten pictures or just post this because that's going to go viral. Versus what's the best content for our audience? What did they sign up for? And that's a big thing too. What did the audience sign up for originally when they clicked like? And it's not going to be necessarily the trendy content. We're happening right now with Facebook Live video. Right? They're going to do them for the sake of doing them. And I have no problem people trying them and testing it out. But if you're only doing it because you think that's going to be popular, that's kind of the wrong way to go.
And I think a lot of brands just do that. They just, I wonder what is going to go viral, and then,
the same brand that did that yesterday was the same brand last year creating, memes or the text on pictures. Was the same brand, 6 months ago that uploaded video, and then 6 months before that created pictures because they're going with the trends. And there's no problem with seeing trends and then being able to adapt to them. But if you're only doing it because, that's what's trending right now, you're actually going to start losing that audience of yours too.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you're on Snapchat, but what's your take on that one? Because I
am.
You are. What do you think about that?
I'm not sure why you're not following me on Snapchat.
I don't know. I'm going to follow you right now.
They have the term. It's kind of weird, but that term "dark social," which is like
social.
Yeah, and that's what somebody coined it as. I wish I had a better term, but it's the one-to-one, right? You can't. It's not public, and I think I'm on there to embarrass my children. That's really my main function on there is to follow.
Facebook was.
No, they've left. They've left Facebook, and I'm embarrassing them. They're privately locked down on Instagram, so I can embarrass them on Snapchat. It's like me, and then I follow DJ Khaled. Like that's what I do. Yeah, and I
and Junior.
Yeah, exactly. He's on there. He doesn't want to see any of my stuff, but you know what? I do it because it's fun for me, and I like talking to friends on there. But it's not as a business case for me.
No?
I don't. Maybe I give tips. I can give tips on it, but it's not. A lot of my audience isn't there. And I'm okay with that. And you have to be okay with that, saying maybe one of the most popular growing platforms, maybe your audience isn't there right now. That should be okay for you. Why don't you make your website better? Why don't you go back to 17 years ago and make a better website? And don't tell me about your Snapchat strategy when I can't sign up for your newsletter. You know what I mean? Like it's just, if it's fun for you, especially entrepreneurs or individuals, if it's fun for you, then do it. If you like it, do it. But not everything will lead to a hard ROI on something, and you have to be okay with that. And I am okay with that. I want no business getting business from Snapchat. I like doing it. But I never wanted it through Twitter. It just happened. That's sometimes the best way to create that too, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, because I got on Snapchat because Gary Vaynerchuk was like, Snapchat this, Snapchat that. And I had it on my phone for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, how do I use this thing?
Right. Same thing though, right? Because we are over 18 years old, so it's hard to figure out, right?
That's what I thought.
There's not a lot of 41-year-old guys hanging out on Snapchat. It feels kind of weird, like I show up to a club and everybody knows the music, and I'm like, I don't even get this music anymore, and I walk out. Nobody wants the weird
Guns
guy.
N' Roses?
Right. I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. So nobody wants the old guy at the club. You don't want to be that guy, and I was that guy. So now I just have fun with it, and I just think, half the stuff is just, do you enjoy it? Because if you enjoy it, you learn it better. And I got on there to figure out why. Why was it growing? Why would it work? And so we have 5 kids, so I would ask them, so why are you using it? What do you do? And they were mainly, it was like texting visually. That was their use of it. And what I couldn't figure out about Snapchat was, how does things go viral? There's no share. There's no like. There's no ability to. There's no way to send it or re-snap it or anything else.
Or post it on Facebook.
Right. There's no.
Twitter. No.
That blows my mind.
Amazing.
And I could never. I still don't know. But I just know that when DJ Khaled sends a snap saying he's going to be at this place in Los Angeles today at 4 p.m., 3,000 kids show up.
Yeah.
And like, that's amazing to me. And that's where, but it doesn't mean that every brand can or should do it. It's like
Right.
Pokemon Go right now. They're like,
Yes.
what's your strategy right now? I'm just like, let them play. I play. Let me play. Just don't, you don't need a strategy right now necessarily. And sometimes it's just pretty awesome. But I want to know why it works, why they like it, and maybe why I don't, and be okay with that too.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Well, I don't want to take much more of your time, but one.
That's okay. I got to get on stage anyway.
You
So
have to get on stage. So one last question, which is actually a little bit related to where we're at. We're at the Affiliate Summit in New York, by the way. And what would you recommend today? If somebody today, an affiliate or an entrepreneur, anybody like a personal brand wants to get on social media because they haven't used it yet, or they haven't really used it professionally yet. And with all the clutter that there is today, what would you recommend to someone brand new at this point?
I think when you're brand new, you're in learning mode. I would follow the people you admire. I would read their posts. I would read their books. I would and ask questions. You what's wrong? There's nothing. We're all just people. You can ask a question. You sent me a tweet, 2010 hours saying hi, and that's where. And now we're sitting
replied.
here. And now we're sitting here in New York. Like, just be open to learn and be open to. I'm still learning this stuff, and I think it's fascinating. And you have to never lose that. But if you're brand new, it's not like go to this platform and that's it. It's all depending on your time, your skill, and your personality too. Facebook's tough to do that, to build a following, because it's a closed networking, right? It's a business page. Twitter's more open, but again, it's changed. So I just you're in consuming mode, learning mode. There's no such thing as tomorrow you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
It's all steps, right? I'm going on stage now to do this keynote, and they're like, well, you just sent some tweets and now you're on stage. Yeah. Okay. It took some time. There's no quick fix. There's no magic bean that will go, right? Building relationships takes time.
Yes.
You need to be sure. And if you're looking to make money quickly, like by tomorrow, the only thing you're qualified to do is get conned. The only thing you're qualified to do is you have to build, if you want to build a network, it's time. Trust takes time, right? Feeling people out to see if they connect properly with you takes time, right? That's relationships. It's not speed dating, right? It's not going to be today and tomorrow you'll have a whole network. It takes time. So
content,
patient.
I guess. Put in content.
And be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient for it and give more than take. That's what because when I said I sent 7,000 tweets that first month, 6,000 of them were replies.
Replies, yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't, by the way, don't mistake it, it wasn't 7,000 just, what are you going to say? I don't know what I'm going to say. But most of them were replies because I wanted to talk with people. It wasn't like 1 month and then now I'm going to sell something. I didn't sell anything. I didn't even talk about anything I did until after 10,000 tweets. Never even mentioned it because I was there to get to know people.
Just your bio, maybe.
Just the bio. Kind of a big deal on a fairly relevant social media site that falsely inflates my ego.
I love that bio. Thank you so much,
You're
Scott.
so
It's been
welcome.
So good to
Absolute
meet you.
pleasure. Thanks, guys.
And thank you guys for watching this tiny interview. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel and share the awesomeness. Thank you, man.
You're very welcome.